Hello, I'm Anna with Magnolia Mouths Media. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. This is the show where I pick a person, they pick a subject, and we talk about it. 5 minutes, timer and all. Today I'm sitting with...
My name is Ololade Gbadamosi, but you can call me O if you can't pronounce that. Just a single letter O, that's fine.
Hey O.
Hello.
Well, O, what's our topic?
Representation.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to set a timer.
All right, no problem.
Go.
All right. It's funny, I'm going to ask you a question.
I'm scared.
It's not going to be bad, but having biracial children, do you feel that they're often represented in schools or any high places that you see?
No.
For me, I think it's very important that we do have representation in those places just for kids of the future. I remember I used to be a substitute teacher actually before I was working at the Ordway, and I worked at two different high schools. One was John F. Kennedy High School on the east side of Bloomington, and one was Edina High School. So two very vast different high schools. And I was shocked at how diverse the high school was at John F. Kennedy, only because I would say 60% of the school was minority. All the other 40% was white. And when I made the transition from Kennedy to Edina, 80% of the school was white, but the 20% was diverse. And a lot of the times people that look like me that work at Edina, they are either security or they have a higher up position you just don't see them at. And so I was a lot of Edina High School students' first black teacher ever. A lot of their teachers are white. And when they see me come into the classroom, they ask the question of like, aren't you security? And like, no, I'm not security. I'm your teacher. And so I think it just not only gives the white perspective of a different like culture to teaching, but also it gives hope for like the diverse culture as well, because a lot of the diverse culture would come up to me and talk to me about their problems. And being black, you can see it through their lens versus a white teacher who doesn't have the same lens as them. So I think that's very important in today's world, especially with what's going on with the shifting cultures of children. Because when I was a kid, I was focused on Facebook and girls, but today and age, you got kids stealing cars, kids trying to see who's the toughest or who has a gun, and
also at the federal level with what's going on, DEI being banned, it is important. If children don't have someone who looks like them to look up to that is successful, and all they have is someone who's not, that affects them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even with like having biracial kids, it's like you're still black. And we're not saying that you're not black, but your lens might be different from a person who is dark skinned or grew up with an all black family. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you have to have a level of sensitivity towards that.
Yeah. The demographics in Minnesota, it's mostly a white state.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my situation is different only because I am black, but I'm also Nigerian and I'm a Muslim. So I can also interact with the Somali community as well. And we have a very, very large Somali community. But
not a large Nigerian community.
No, our Nigerian community is very, how can I put it? We're here, but we hide. Like my parents, I grew up in Richfield, but then I was moved out to Apple Valley only because it wasn't even a flourishing place, but that was where we just happened to end up being.
Yeah.
But a lot of Nigerians either grew up in Minneapolis or Cottage Grove or Woodbury. And now a lot of the West Africans are moving towards like past North Minneapolis, so like Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park. Whereas the Somali community is now they've taken over Minneapolis, regardless of what you want to say. Minneapolis, Southern Minneapolis, even the south suburbs like Bloomington, Edina, they're all over.
Somali Street, right off of Cedar. There's a whole,
And the best part about it is that, they have great representation. Our state rep is a Somali woman. And granted, there is some disparities with the Somali community about her. Half of them will represent her, half of them won't, but they're still together as a community regardless. And, now they're getting representation in different places. A lot of them are in IT. A lot of them have trucking companies. So I think representation is important, It gives our future hope that they can make it in certain areas. And it doesn't even have to be traditional areas of like being a doctor, lawyer, or a mayor.
Right. Right. Matter of fact, it could be helping. It could be, what is your position at the Ordway?
Education coordinator.
It could be that. I mean, you kind of have an important job.
Yeah.
So you're making me break all the rules of this show.
Sorry. You could even be a teacher. You could be an artist. You just need to figure out the avenue to be a successful artist. I mean, every avenue you're going to struggle, but with struggle comes great successes, I would say.
Amen.
Yeah.
I agree. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It. Ololade. I was trying.
It's all right. I told you, if you can't say it, stick to O.
Thanks for coming on
No problem.
this show today. Y'all follow Magnolia Mounts Media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see all of our shows. Hit the little bell and you'll get notifications when we drop more. Thanks for watching.